Mosquitoes refuse to suck his blood. Vanilla ice cream is simply too spicy for him. He considers light bulb jokes risque because they contain the word screw. He once watched The English Patient on cable TV with all the commercials. He brushes his teeth after every meal, including snacks. He is the least interesting man in the world. I don't always watch TV, but when I do, I prefer the box score. It starts now, my friends.
I don't know a lot about sports, but I can drink a lot of beer.
My motto is simple: C's get degrees.
Need a long, inappropriate hug? I'm your man.
I think I'm smarter than you, because I probably am.
Howard Coward for box score.
Hello and welcome to the Box Score. I'm Brock here in Los Angeles, home of the Los Angeles Kings. And I'm talking with the Danettes out in Milford, Connecticut. Guys, the boss had a big weekend. His mom visited. He had his daughter's graduation, the bagpipes, the crying, the whole thing. Seton, he had mentioned that he didn't get to play golf. Is that why he was in a bad mood today?
I don't know why Dan was in the mood he was in today. It kind of felt like a Friday show where everybody was sort of clawing at each other a little bit and said that it was just Monday, so we actually have another 4 days of this to look forward to. Sort of set the week off on an interesting tone.
Fritzy, your lack of guest and your great mood didn't sit well with DP, especially when you started going on about your son's game.
By the way, my son, Jordan, got a save. Little League. Second and third, and I go, I don't care.
I
don't care.
I think deep down you do.
I don't.
It was 1 out, second and third, tying run at the plate. It's a big deal. It's a lot of pressure for an 11-year-old.
Surface-wise, I don't care. Deep down, I don't care either.
Yeah, I was disappointed at Dan. I don't know, again, the mood that led up to me sharing that story. Maybe I should have saved it for a later date or a later time in the day. But I was excited. I thought the guys would be into it, and I wanted to share a special moment from the weekend with my son. You know, he wanted to pitch all season and finally got a chance to, and he had a save, and he got out of a tough jam that the previous pitcher left for him. And I was excited about it. And I thought he would at least feign for a moment or two some type of excitement for Jordan accomplishing that. Obviously, it wasn't to be, and he was.
It's longer than the game.
Yeah, he was grumpy that we only had one guest at the time, and I think that sometimes affects his mood also.
I think actually we should get the guest list portion in proper context. Is that, well, we only had one guest on the show scheduled today. That was Reggie Miller, who's a regular, so that actually doesn't count. We're actually 0 for Tuesday and 0 for Wednesday as it stands right now. So that's basically 3 straight days this week with no guests booked. So I think Dan's looking ahead to that and being like, hey, I don't really care about your kid's story.
Well,
Who are we having on the show?
I think you have a great point, Seton. I honestly do think that story was particularly boring to Dan. You know, like because now that I've heard it 3 or 4 times today, I can see where Dan would not.
I thought the third time he told it was pretty good.
Yeah.
The rest of you also shared stories about what you did this weekend, but the most pathetic story belongs to one Seton Boxcar O'Connor.
I sat around a campfire and drank whiskey for about 16 straight hours.
Did you have a rodeo without calling us?
Seton sounds a lot like a hobo, actually.
I don't know what happened with that. That one sounds a little weird. So you and some dudes sat around a campfire drinking whiskey all weekend.
That was rad. It was the best.
Did you have a guitar and you sang?
It was close to that. It was close to that. See, Dan, you know, you could tell he's really grasping there. And while it may not have been necessarily 16 straight hours, first Dan was upset that I didn't call him to go to my own personal rodeo. And then he spent the rest of the time ripping it and saying, it sounds so stupid. I wouldn't even want to be there anyway. But why didn't you call me? Why didn't you let me know? And I'm sorry, Dan, if I hurt your feelings, but he knows a good time when he hears it. That was rad.
It was rad. McLovin, how glad were you that the poll question just dropped in your lap today?
Well, actually, I had a bunch of good poll options. Probably forgot, Brock, but the first option, first segment, I was killing it with but none of them were good enough to actually use as a poll. So I was really psyched when this fell into our lap. Not that I knew that Seton was going to run away with it, though. It was pretty clear that our audience, like Seton, enjoys a 16-hour whiskey party.
Well, McLovin, let's hope your wife isn't watching the show today, because this is how you described teaching your daughter to read.
You taught your daughter to read over the weekend.
Yeah, that was the worst. I mean, she was really slow. I'm like, dog, DOG. How hard is that, Lucy? Get with the program. Is it? Oh, that was. I shouldn't have shared that.
Your mic is on.
I like it. You know, calling her out on national TV and radio, that's going to send a message. You know, it's frowned upon by most fathers and psychologists and teachers probably, but I like it.
Is it better to call out your own kid, or to, like Dan said to Fritzy, like, I don't really care about your dumb kid stories? Which one do you think is a better move, calling out your own kid or somebody else's?
I like the honesty of both, because nobody cares about other people's kids' stories. I don't care about yours, you don't care about mine, we all don't really care. We listen out of politeness. And also, if your kid's not that good at school or reading, no one ever admits that publicly. Everyone says, oh, my kid's on the dean's list. No one ever says, you know, my kid's holding on by a thread in high school.
Well, I think you need to share universal kid stories. Like, we all remember what it's like to have trouble with the letters as a kid. You know, but when you get into very specific, like, game situations, like it was, you know, second and third, 2 out, like, stuff that only has to do with a particular Little League, that's when people zone out. You got to make it universal stuff.
But like my greatest athletic accomplishment is a Little League story. So, what is that?
Your dad's probably still telling it.
Yeah, Dan probably still doesn't want to hear it.
Well, see, at least your dad's proud of you. Coming up, the Man Cave gets an unexpected donation, and who will be DP's arm candy at the Stanley Cup final? We'll find out next.
You're going to see something in this next segment you haven't been exposed to, and you've been exposed to an awful lot, Senator. It's called flinchball. I'm going to let you see the Danettes play flinchball. That's what's going to happen coming up this next segment.
All right.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Welcome back to the Box Score. Seton, your reaction was priceless when the boss promised a possible game of flinchball with Senator McCain. Deep down, do you really wish it happened?
Absolutely not. I wish that Dan hadn't even mentioned the words flinchball to the senator. I'm so happy we didn't go there.
Though I feel bad for the senator because he'll spend the rest of his days wondering what could have happened.
You guys treated the senator with great hospitality, and after you guys gave him some DP swag, he sent you guys a check for $200. McLovin, what should you guys do with the money?
I don't think there's any question what we should do with the money. I think we should have the Pictionary dinner party at my apartment that I've been talking about for so long. Dan will spend the money. We'll all come to Brooklyn on a Saturday night. We'll get out the board games, and we will party the way John McCain wanted us to.
Yeah, I was kind of thinking lap dances and like maybe we each get our favorite baseball team cap.
Wow, that's wild. I think we should parlay it. We should put it on like the Spurs and, you know, the Kings and California Chrome, like a 3-team parlay. That would pay off pretty nice.
That is pretty sweet. I think there's only one place that money's ending up. That's probably in Dan's pocket.
Yeah.
Probably check with Dirty Larry, see if there are any good picks. Maybe we could spend the cash buying Seton a clue because he was having a little trouble on the 1s and 2s today.
Mike Florio coming up next. It's 19 after the hour. This is the Dan Patrick Show. What are you doing, Seton?
My bad.
Are you hungover?
No, I'm not.
You're not.
Actually. No, what happens is usually when I'm hungover, I'm better.
If you had a breathalyzer, breathalyzer right now.
I had a great night's sleep, and that's actually my problem.
Sometimes when you pass out, it happens that way.
It's the truth. Usually nights that I've been out all night drinking and barely slept and just roll in here reeking like a distillery, I have a great show and I'm pretty buttoned up, and it's the nights that I'm like, man, I got a solid like 10 hours of sleep last night or something that
Paul, you sniffed him. What do you smell?
No, he's pretty well rested, full shower, nice crisp shirt. Now, if this show were yesterday morning, I think we may have a different seat in the building.
Yeah.
Well, Dan has the check, and he can do with whatever he wants to with the money. Sweat it out, baby. So we asked him if he planned to share it with you guys in this edition of Boss's Thoughts.
I don't think I'll cash the check from Senator McCain. It's more of a conversation piece. I would not spend the money on the Danettes since I bought beer and wings on Friday again. And even just to get them to leave the tip. I hear change coming out in their pockets, and I go, never mind, I got the tip. No, I definitely wouldn't spend any money on the Danettes.
The I-team's all over this one. We actually have a call into the Senator's financial people just to monitor the check to make sure it either is or is not cashed the next calendar year.
And I think there's two things, actually. Dan can hold on to that check because now with modern technology, you just use your iPhone, scan the check, and it's deposited immediately, and you can hold on to the slip, still have your conversation piece, too. I also was not aware that Dan was paying for beer and wings and leaving the tip on Friday. I thought his mom was. And so I was kind of okay sticking her with the bill. So my bad, Dan.
Maybe we use the money to buy McLovin another hot pink shirt.
That's the best you can do, Brock? That's it? That's all you got?
Well, you're kind of hiding the shirt today. You just showed a little teaser.
Oh, no. Oh, no. Oh, that's beautiful. Like bubblegum. Up next, the Mock Headline Championship belt is up for grabs. The Battle Royale is next. Welcome back to the Box Score. Guys, we're coming off another juicy weekend of sports. So as we like to do every Monday, it's time to show Dan Nation your wit, or lack thereof, as it's time for...
Mock Headline Battle Royale!
I give you a headline, you give me a mock headline. First headline, Roger Federer upset in the 4th round of the French Open. Let's start in the front row, and Paulie.
Fritzy, take this one. Roger over and out.
Ooh, I had something very similar.
Shocker.
Oh, the crowd. Let's go to McLovin, please.
Roger that. I suck.
Wow.
That makes up for the pink shirt. Fritzy, what do you got?
I had over and out. Roger is fed upset.
Crowd turns on him. And finally, Seton, your mock headline.
Federer given a good Rogering out in the 4th.
Oh, very British.
British humor.
Well, let's say that.
Second headline, the Spurs knock
sexual
off
humor.
the Thunder to return to the finals. Front row, Paulie, please.
Kawhi, not the Spurs. San Antonio is going to face the Heat.
Oh.
Let's go to the back row, and Fritzy.
Cork and Mindy, time to celebrate Manu Manu Shazbot.
Seton.
The Spurs beat the Thunder in the return to the NBA Finals.
Oh.
They're boring.
Jan,
They're
and
team.
finally McLovin.
Sleepless in San Antonio. Young fans will have to push back bedtime for finals.
It's an angle nobody else is covering.
That's true.
I give you a lot of credit on that.
Good point.
All right, our third headline, Kevin Love enjoys a wonderful weekend in Boston. Fritzy, let's start with you.
The green-eyed monster. NBA teams jealous over Caleb's Fenway fun.
Wordy.
Okay. Wow. Crowd vicious. Seton, you're next.
Boston flea party. K-Love says, "Get me the heck out of here."
Okay. McLovin, what do you got?
Kevin Love, this could be my bleeping city. Like, Big Bobby.
And Paulie.
White lies. Love said he's just visiting Boston.
Ooh,
I like that.
Intrigued.
I like that. Apparently the crowd doesn't. Finally, our last headline. The Kings beat the Blackhawks in Game 7 and return to the Stanley Cup Final. Front row, Seton.
Dynasty, more like Crynasty.
Boo, who do you think you are with that? Fritzy, please.
Crowning achievement, Kings show road royalty with another Game 7 win.
Well, the crowd is just cruel. Oh, I thought you were witty on that one. Paulie.
Toffoli crap. Kings win overtime. Never a dowdy.
Well done.
For you, Reza.
Yeah, I think the producers like that. And finally, McLovin.
Okay, this is an inside box score joke. King Schwing, box score producer, excited about Stanley Cup final.
Swing.
Swing. Oh, way to go, guys. The Mock Headline Championship bell goes to Seton O'Connor.
Thank you. At this point, I'm kind of like Bob Costas with this. It's like, I'm just going to keep it, call it the Seton Memorial.
More to come as we find out which lucky Danette will be making his way to the Big Apple with DP next week. Stick around.
Hi, I'm Jeremy Roenick, and you're watching The Box Score on Audience, DirecTV, Channel 239.
Welcome back to the Box Score. Jeremy Roenick played for both the Blackhawks and the Kings. Paulie, were you the only Danette that stayed up late and watched the whole game?
I doubt it. We're all big sports fans, and luckily for Fritzy, he has horrendous chronic sleep apnea, so he usually stays up to watch sporting events.
That's the only reason, basically, while I was up. I was curious to see what the ending of the game was, but having no ability to sleep, it worked out in my favor to actually see the overtime goal.
No, sadly, I missed overtime. I fell asleep beforehand. I watched from like halfway through the first period to about almost to the end of the third, but then fell asleep.
The Kings will meet the Rangers in the final, and the series comes to Madison Square Garden next week. Fritzy, as we can see here, you have sported a Rangers jersey numerous times on the show. Are you mad that Dan didn't pick you to go to the game just merely by default?
I'm actually not. I'm happy for Seton. You know, I do like the Rangers. I'm not as crazy a Ranger fan as I am a Bronco fan, so I don't want to be a poser. But I do. I have rooted for the Rangers over the years, being from New York, and you know, I'm looking forward to actually watching it with my son. We've been watching a lot of hockey together, so I think it'll be a great time for Seton and Dan, and we'll watch on TV. And as Paulie alluded to earlier, at least one of us is going to be able to go, as opposed to Dan blowing off all of Dan.
Fritzy, I find that quite nuts that you wouldn't want to go to the Stanley Cup.
Oh, I do want to go, but it was fair and square.
I thought he asked you if you were disappointed.
No, I would have been, you know, if he would have chosen one over the other, but it wasn't. That's not how it went down. A name was picked out of a hat randomly, as far as I know, unless it was fixed. You know, Seton won fair and square. All the names were in a hat. If he would have picked one of us other than me to go with him, just like that, just by selection, then I would have been more disappointed.
I've actually never been to an NHL game, so this will really be my first
That's awesome.
one. And I'm kind of stoked about that. I went to a Hartford Wolfpack game about 9 years ago and stayed for like 15 minutes and then split. But now I'm really looking forward to this, though. That should be a lot of fun.
Well, let's see how it all went down in this Hunger Games moment.
The name I pick will go to the Rangers game with me, but they have to buy my beer. I'm going to put it up to the camera to give you who is going.
Booyah. Beer's on me, pal. Beer's on me.
Well, there you go.
All right.
Wow, this is awkward.
Much deserved, much deserved.
Beer's on me.
It's going to be awkward for you to have a couple of beers with me.
It's pretty sweet. I think Dan's going to drink me under the table, though, and I'm sure he'll rack up a pretty serious bar tab there. But I'll take it. I'll gladly exchange that than like the $2,000 it would have cost in tickets.
Broccoli, I'm curious there with the camera work. I noticed during the look-in, Dan was shuffling through the hat looking at the names, and that didn't make camera. And also, when Dan actually if you watch back at that video, there's not video of Dan actually putting his name into the hat and shuffling through and picking the names. I noticed the camera was conveniently pointed at us when that was happening.
IT investigation.
So does that mean Dan deliberately chose me to go with? What does that say?
Well, it says that the world makes sense because you knew the back row was out because Dan's not going with a non-beard. So it basically came to a coin flip with Paulie and Seton, you might have won the coin flip.
I'm told by the producers that somehow that videotape was lost, Paulie. Sorry.
Sure.
It's like spy game.
Sorry. And I had just said about 30 seconds before Dan pulled my name from the hat, I said I give myself less than 0% chance of winning this. There's absolutely no way my name is coming out of that hat. And I don't know. The stars aligned, I guess.
Smart move. That works well with the script.
All right, well, in the line of pulling things out of a hat, Fritzy, let's look forward to Wednesday. Anyone on Wednesday?
Well, we got to do Tuesday first. We're hoping to hear from
He's trying to help you out by skipping Tuesday.
I got it. We're hoping to hear from Patrick Ewing tomorrow and working on some other stuff. But right now, wide open slate, and we'll see what develops in the sports world.
It's a fresh canvas. Blank.
Thank you, guys, and thanks for watching The Box Score. Set your DVR or tune in weekdays at 3 p.m. Eastern only on Audience Channel 239 on DirecTV.
I don't know a lot about sports, but I can drink a lot of beer.
My motto is simple. C's get degrees.
Need a long, inappropriate hug? I'm your man.
I think I'm smarter than you, because I probably am.
Hey, thanks for watching the box score. Holy cow!